the Sports Renegades podcast on SportstownChicago.com.
Sports Renegades broadcasting live from 6 to 8 tonight. I am Ryan Risky. However, my partner Ryan Stuprich is currently not here. He's stuck in traffic right now. I'm getting the show started anyways. And we haven't been on the air for the past 3 weeks due to the holidays, so we hope everyone had a nice holiday. He's a great Christmas, great New Year's. We were unfortunately stuck on Thursday for both New Year's and Christmas. So anyways, instead, we were gone for those 2 weeks, and then the third week in a row, we were snowed in, so we got a bunch of snow, so instead the show was canceled due to the weather. However, we're back this week, and now we're getting started on the wrong track, as Ryan is late right now. So anyways, a lot has been happening in the past 3 weeks. Currently, a lot of NFL head coaching hires, coaching staffs getting finalized, and the Bears had interviewed the Seahawks defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, the Cardinals defensive coordinator Todd Bowles, the Broncos offensive coordinator Adam Gase, and then after the Broncos lost to the Colts in the divisional round of the playoffs, they parted ways with John Fox, and now the Bears seem to be going and having very much interest in him. And he was here for an interview yesterday. There were reports that a deal was being finalized or that a deal was already finalized. So it looks pretty good that the Bears will be getting John Fox. Now, he is a defensive-minded coach that likes to run the ball, and last year under Mark Trestman, the Bears were 30th in rushing attempts. And the running back is Matt Forte, which that's just unacceptable because, I mean, it seemed like there were games that they were going down 3-0 in the first quarter, so that was time to abandon the run for Mark Trestman. Oh, man, I'm glad he was fired. It was long overdue. He should have been fired at halftime against Green Bay. However, that didn't happen. He was fired after the season ended, and he's interviewed for 3 offensive coordinator jobs, except the job that he's really good at is helping out a quarterback, so that's more the job of the quarterback's coach, because if he's the offensive coordinator and the team needs to run the ball, he's not going to run the ball. So we'll see how that goes. He interviewed for the Jaguars, the Buccaneers, and the Browns, and right now it's looking with the way that it's going with the Bears and John Fox, and if they were to hire him, it sounds like that he would bring Broncos offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan, the son of Mike Shanahan, I believe, and then they would be bringing in Dennis Allen, who was fired during the season by the Oakland Raiders. So that was a very bad coaching hire. They really struck out there as he went 8-28 in his 2.5 seasons or 2.25 seasons before they fired him and replaced him with Tony Sperano as the interim head coach. And now they hired Broncos defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio. Now, Broncos really might be losing a lot of their coaches because they're trying to keep Adam Gase, except he might want to go somewhere that'll get him a head coaching job. However, maybe him and John Fox would be coming in a package deal. We don't know because obviously this deal has not yet been finalized. And I mean, the Bears do need to get a good offensive mind. They really haven't had a great offensive mind, someone that knows offense, knows how to balance around the offense, develop offensive players in quite some time. I mean, the only playoff year they've had in any recent memory is the year under Mike Martz and Jay Cutler's second year when he blew out his knee against Green Bay in the playoffs. Now, the Mike Martz offense might end up working better now because, I mean, it is a quarterback-killing offense, except Cutler has a better offensive line now. Granted, it's not great because last year he was getting sacked quite often, getting hit often. Sometimes he held on to the ball too long. And the receiving core is better. You have guys that you can trust to catch the ball. And he didn't really have that in the 2 years with Mike Martz before he resigned. And then Mike Tice got promoted to offensive coordinator, and then that experiment failed. So then they fired most of their coaches that year. I mean, right now the Bears, I was disappointed that they lost out on Todd Bowles. I thought he was a perfect candidate. It seemed all the Cardinals players loved him. They seemed like they thought that he was a great guy. He demanded respect. He was good at developing players. He had head coaching experience with the Miami Dolphins when they fired, I believe they fired Tony Sperano at the end of the year, and they gave Todd Bowles 3 games to be the head coach. He went 2-1, And, I mean, every player, I mean, really everything you see written about Todd Bowles is really great stuff. He seemed like a leader in the locker room. He got along with Bruce Arians. The players all liked him. He was a player's coach, except he was one of those guys that doesn't matter how much you're making, you're going to play the amount of time you play is going to be based on how well you play. So, and obviously, last year with the Cardinals, he dealt with a lot of injuries to that defense, especially the front seven, which is why he was blitzing so much. That's why they led the NFL in blitzes. He's good at disguising schemes, creating schemes. And I just think he would have been a good fit for the Bears and a guy that could help develop players because he's a former defensive backs coach. And that the Bears definitely need defensive back help and help developing their guys because, I mean, right now, most of that defense needs to be replaced. Lance Briggs is a free agent. Charles Tillman is a free agent. And the guys that are under contract, you don't really want. I mean, they'd probably love to cut Jared Allen or Lamar Houston if they weren't owed the guaranteed money, which both of them are candidates to be cut after next season. And they have obviously the 7th pick in the draft. And interestingly enough, in a mock draft created by Mel Kiper, he had the Bears taking Alabama safety Landon Collins with the 7th overall pick. And I was just kind of like mind-boggled. Like, why would you have the Bears taking a safety when they badly need pass rushers and linebackers, and those are the way to anchor your defense? You don't need to be like, what difference is a rookie safety going to make on a horrible defense, where a horrible defense that has a really good pass rusher or a really good linebacker that can run the defense, be the captain of the defense? I mean, that's what's really going to help, not a safety when your whole defense pretty much needs to be replaced. And really thinking about it, if you think about this team in 3 years, of the current guys they have, there's probably only 3 players on that team that you see on the team in 3 years. That's how poor their drafting has been. And those 3 players would be Alshon Jeffrey, Kyle Fuller, and Kyle Long. You can make an argument for Martellus Bennett because he's still kind of young, except his contract expires after next season, and they will need to re-sign him because he does a great job blocking and pass catching. Obviously, he needs to tone it down because him and Kyle Long got into a Twitter feud about getting Martellus Bennett unfollowed him on Twitter, so Long made a big deal, sent a tweet, and then they got into a fight, and that just adds on to the never-ending list of things that were wrong with this past Bears season and how this nightmare will not end, and it continues to get worse. And I mean, and also, before we were. Last time we were off the air, the Bears had not hired a general manager yet, and at that time it looked like it was going to be Chris Ballard, and they ended up hiring Ryan Pace, the Saints director in personnel scouting, and he's obviously a young guy, 37, except the Bears finally just decided it doesn't really matter how old or young you are, it matters if you can get the job done, and it seems like he's a good guy. He doesn't have a history of going and shelling out money in free agency because he is swinging and missing in the draft. He's doing that because you need to find like the key free agents, like the Willie Young signings, the small signings, the ones that give you more quality for your money. 3 years, $9 million, and then he turns out to be a better signing than Jared Allen and Lamar Houston. He had more sacks than the two of them combined this year. So obviously there are plenty of things that the Bears do need to work on. I mean, there's a lot they need to work on. And the new coaching staff, I mean, you have to expect that. Mel Tucker is going to be fired. Joe DeCamillis will be fired. All the assistants will be fired. John Fox will bring in his own staff, which right now looks like Kyle Shanahan and Dennis Allen as the offensive and defensive coordinator, respectively. However, you never know. Maybe if Adam Gase isn't hired as head coach of the Broncos, maybe John Fox can bring Adam Gase down to Chicago. So you never know. Anyways, we're going to take a quick time out. We'll be right back, and hopefully Ryan will be here. So we'll be back. I'm Ryan Risky on the Sports Renegades, SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades on SportsTownChicago.com. And during the break, Mr. Stuprich decided to show up.
I did. There was a lot of traffic on my way, and there wasn't even like any really cause for it. There was like an accident, but they were all working in the median of the expressway, so I'm not quite sure exactly what happened, but it was not good. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell. I had time. As I said, I had time to do a whole 15-minute segment without you.
And I'm assuming you talked about the Bears a lot and some of the coaching moves around the NFL.
Oh, I absolutely did. The only thing I wasn't able to do is announce that every single coach on that team has been fired, because every single coach on that team rightfully deserves to be fired right now. I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know why it was only Mark Trestman, Phil Emery, and Aaron Cromer that was fired. Like, are the McCaskies holding out all hope that when they bring in their new coach that he won't want to fire Mel Tucker?
I don't know. I'm so confused by a lot of the moves that have been made so far. But
yeah, like why didn't you try to hire Todd Bowles?
Yeah, well, they never never conducted a second interview with him.
Yeah,
I guess.
I read they were planning to conduct it. They were going to set up a second interview for this weekend. Nope, that didn't happen. The Jets hired him before you could even get that second interview. Like, why are you wasting all this time?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, too. I want to know why are they wasting all this time. But John Fox should be hired, presumably, pretty shortly, maybe tomorrow, if not maybe during the weekend, although I don't usually think stuff like this happens on the weekend.
No.
But
I mean, I did read that the Bears told Fox that the job is his if he wants it, except why are you stalling? Why are you wasting all this time? Because, I mean, I know you don't want to hurry the process, except this is also a race to get the best coaching staff. And other teams, like the Jets hired Todd Bowles. Let's see, the Bills hired Rex Ryan. They're already putting together their coaching staffs.
Right.
I mean, this is a race to get the best coaching staff for the Bears. Nah, let's hire the cheapest coaching staff of morons like we do every year.
Right. Well, I'm assuming, because I think we're both assuming they're going to hire John Fox. And then
I am.
Once they do, hopefully he'll get some good guys in place. I don't know if people from the Broncos are going to follow him here. I doubt it.
I would love it if Adam Gase followed him, because I read that he might want to lead. He's probably going to lead the Broncos if he's not hired as head coach.
A lot of it depends on Peyton Manning too, because he didn't sound so sure he was going to come back to play another football season. He has played, I think, 14 years in the NFL. Has it been 14 or 15 professional years? Well, it could be closer to 16. I'm not sure.
I would assume 7. Let's see. He probably entered the league when
I think he was a rookie in '98, so it has been 16 years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, I mean that people are saying, "Oh, Manning, this is what age will do to you," and then it turns out Peyton Manning played the second half of the season with a torn calf.
Right, and of course that doesn't come out until after the season. Of course, that's probably a big reason why they lost.
That's why he couldn't plant his foot to get. That's why he was struggling on throws down the field.
Yeah, his throws were pretty awful. I mean, especially when you compare them to Andrew Luck's throws in that game. I mean, Peyton Manning's were all wobbly. Not even he wasn't hitting his targets nearly as well.
Yeah, no, I read that he completed 16% of his passes that traveled more than 5 yards.
Right. Yeah, that's not going to win games. But
That's not going to win you games unless you're Ryan Tannehill.
Right.
Because those are the only passes he can complete.
Yeah, I mean, he had a bounce-back year, but I don't know how good he's going to be this upcoming 2015 season as far as Ryan Tannehill is concerned.
I mean, he did have a good year. He's got a nice receiving core with Jarvis Landry and Mike Wallace. Except going back to the Bears and the Broncos.
Yep.
John Fox, he's a defensive-minded coach, except he's a defensive-minded coach that loves to run the ball.
Right.
Now, I tweeted this out. I don't know if you saw this. The Bears ranked 30th in the NFL last year in rushing attempts.
Rushing attempts. Yeah,
and their running back is Matt Forte, and you're ranked 30th?
Third best running back in the NFL, and here he is.
Not running the ball?
Not running the ball. Because, I mean, anytime Forte has the ball, he can go, I think you're pretty confident he can go at least 5 yards every play. So
Right. I mean, except that's the Mark Trestman way. You're down 3-0 in the first quarter. Time to abandon the run. Down 3-0 to him is being down 21-0.
Well, because if you would have stuck with the run, you probably would have won maybe 1 or 2 more games. Not that it would have mattered, but you could have won a couple more games. At least stayed close. They wouldn't be 55-14 blowouts like they were against the Packers and Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, he abandons the run. And then when Kadeem Carey had more carries against Detroit than Matt Forte on Thanksgiving, has he lost his mind? You're giving the ball to Kadeem Carey and not Matt Forte?
I guess that's why he's not here. Right now.
Why?
That's why him and Phil Emery are gone, and Mel Tucker will be gone as soon as they hire John Fox.
Yeah, why is Kadeem Carey being put in a better situation to succeed than Matt Forte? Kadeem Carey was a 4th-round pick. And I'm pretty sure they could have found a better player to spend a 4th-round pick on than a backup running back.
I think so. I'm pretty sure that would be the case.
Especially when last year's class was one of the worst backs in terms of running back quality.